Welcome to Comeback Class, a podcast that'll teach you how to turn your breakup into the best thing that ever happened to you. And now your host, Lauren Lewis.
Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Comeback Class. If you love this podcast, if you enjoy it every week and you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do that so that you never miss an episode when it comes out. They come out every single Tuesday. I just want to start off this episode by apologizing and letting you know that I am a little bit sick this week. I've got a bit of a cold going on, so I may sound a little different than normal, but luckily for you, I can pause this recording and cough, not so that you don't have to listen to it. But anyway, that's why my voice sounds a little bit different this week. I can't believe that we are already halfway through the month of May. It feels like it was just Christmas not that long ago. And I was also thinking about how in the beginning of this year, I made a commitment to myself and to you that I was going to make new episodes of the podcast and I was going to stick with it every week, and I have been able to do that, and we are going on how many weeks now? About 4 months. No, I'm sorry, almost 5 months. Yeah, so for almost 5 months, we've had a new episode every week. So far, it's going well. I have made it a routine in my schedule, and I look forward to doing it every single week. I hope that you're getting a lot of value from these episodes. If you are and you know somebody that you think may also get a lot of value from it, make sure that you share it with them. My goal with this podcast is always to give you the tools and the resources that you need that will help you to not only get over and get through difficult situations that you may be facing in your life, but to also help you live a really purposeful, intentional, and joy-filled life. So if you've been hanging out with me for a while, you've been listening to the podcast, you will know that I talk a lot about self-care and managing your mental health. Now, I know this is something that can be difficult simply because it requires time. And I have found that I really have to consciously carve out time for these things and make them a priority because we go through the day and things come up and we get busy and there's always things to do. The to-do list never ends. So it can be really easy to just forget about yourself and to not take care of yourself the way that you're supposed to and to not worry about your mental health. But then what happens is we end up getting ourselves into these situations where we have worked ourselves into exhaustion and we're just mentally, physically, emotionally spent. And that's what I want you to try to avoid if possible. And so doing that means that you are prioritizing your mental health, your well-being, your self-care, all of the things. And if you're a super busy person, like I'm sure that you are, because many of us are, then I have come up with some ways that will hopefully help you squeeze in this very important time so that you can make it a daily routine and that you can find a little bit more calm in your life, a little bit more peace, a little bit more relaxation. So one of the things that you can do is specifically schedule some me time. You can set aside time to do activities that promote relaxation and self-care for you, whether it be reading a book or taking a bath or practicing meditation or doing some kind of hobby that you really enjoy. And I know it's not always easy to do these things every single day. So if you can even find 10 minutes where you can do something every day. What I used to do was I used to wake up really early, extra early, just so that I could sit and have my coffee and relax by myself for whatever it was, 15 minutes in the morning. And that made such a huge difference in how I felt the rest of the day because I was able to just kind of center myself and chill out and get ready for the day. And I know a lot of other people that do this as well. So even if you can only do 10 minutes a day, finding that time to relax and just be by yourself and just breathe, meditate, whatever you want to do can be super beneficial for you. Another thing that you can try is practicing mindfulness all throughout the day. And this is something we've talked about before. I think I even did a whole episode on mindfulness, but it's basically just taking a few moments to focus on your breath and observe your thoughts without any judgment and to stay present in the current moment. This can help reduce your stress level tremendously, and it also increases your mental clarity. So if you can make it a habit to do this repeatedly throughout the day, you'll see that it will start to become easier and you will very quickly see the benefits from doing it. There are a lot of tools out there now that will help you be able to do this, to practice mindfulness. There are apps out there. There's a Calm app. There's also my favorite, which is the Headspace app. I'll put a link to that in the show notes. If you want to try it out, you can get a 14-day free trial with my link. So I'll put that there for you. But just making it a habit, trying to stay present in the moment, focus on what's going on with all of your senses, hearing, touching, smelling, seeing, all of those things. Another super important thing that you can do to manage your mental health that doesn't take any time is to set boundaries. And if you have never set boundaries before and you are just learning how to do it, it can feel very difficult. It can feel very weird. You feel like maybe you're not being a nice person or something like that. But once you get comfortable setting boundaries, trust me, it will change your life. Once you learn to say no when you start feeling overwhelmed or when you just don't want to do something, you will realize that saying no does not make you a bad person, a mean person, or anything like that. It means that you have boundaries, and that's okay. You're allowed to have boundaries. Boundaries are healthy. So it's important to establish boundaries to prevent overcommitting yourself, overextending yourself, exhausting yourself, prioritizing other people's needs above your own. Unless they are your children and they are absolutely dependent on you, that may make things a little bit more difficult. But I will say this, and this is just a side note, but I see a lot of people, maybe middle-aged people or older people, that have grown adult children that extend themselves to the point where they are broke, they're physically, mentally, emotionally exhausted because they are trying to do everything to help their children. And, you know, people can very easily say to me, well, you don't have kids, you don't understand what it's like. No, that's true. That's true. I don't have kids and I don't know what that's like. But I know that by you going out of your way to save them every single time that they screw up or they're not hitting the mark, you're not doing them any favors. They're not learning anything. You know, I will say that I had to do a lot of stuff for myself growing up, and I didn't always have help that I wish that I had at the time, but I am so glad for it because I feel like I look at other people my age, and mind you, I'm in my 30s. I look at a lot of people my age who are still dependent on their parents in their 30s. And I look at, you know, adults that I know that are middle-aged, older, have kids that are my age, and they've got all the kids living with them. They've got the grandkids. They're buying the diapers. They're buying the food. They're basically like raising kids all over again, even though their kids are grown adults. And it's not, I mean, it's one of those things that it doesn't really bother me, but I notice it a lot, and I just don't understand why. And maybe it is because I don't have kids, and maybe I'll understand when I do have kids, but I just think you're doing them a disservice if you're not letting them figure things out for themselves sometimes. And not just that, but if you are running yourself into the ground to take care of your adult children, then it may be time for you to set some boundaries. And I'm just being honest there. I see it like so much, so much. And, you know, the people's mental health is suffering. And a lot of it is because they're taking on all of this extra weight that is really, it's not their cross to bear. And I don't say this to upset anyone or make anybody mad. I just want you to realize that if a lot of the pressure that you feel and the overwhelm that you feel has to do with other people and their choices and maybe some of their mistakes that they've made, then it might be time to set some boundaries and say, I can help you in this way, and that is all I can offer you. Okay, now back to our regularly scheduled programming. Tip number 4 for prioritizing your mental health when you're super busy is adding some regular exercise to your routine. And I know everybody hates this one. I hate this one sometimes because it's hard for me to find time to exercise, but it has so many health benefits. Even if it's just for a short period of time, if you're just going for a quick walk or doing a quick stretch, because it releases endorphins, it helps you reduce stress, and it really just improves your overall well-being. And this is something that I've been working on. I'm going to continue to work on for the rest of my life because I don't think it's something you can stop working on. But it is one of those things that you know that you probably should do it if you're not doing it already. The next thing is to get enough sleep. Adequate sleep is absolutely vital for your mental health. It really helps if you can create a consistent sleep schedule where you are going to bed at the same time every day, waking up at the same time every day, and just prioritizing getting that quality rest. So part of doing this sometimes includes like avoiding electronic devices before you go to bed, creating a calming nighttime routine to help promote better sleep, whatever you have to do. And this is another one of those things that could be affected by your loved ones or the people that you live with. So you have to, while you try to balance everyone else's needs, you also have to prioritize your own. And I know it's easier said than done, but I love the saying that, you can't pour from an empty cup. You can't give others what they need if you're not even getting what you need. I mean, you can, but you're going to burn out. You're going to get fried. It's inevitable. And what's the one thing that goes hand in hand with exercising? It's maintaining a healthy or at least somewhat balanced diet, staying hydrated, and even limiting excessive amounts of caffeine or alcohol consumption. When you do those things, if let's say you have a habit where you tend to drink alcohol every single day or you tend to drink massive amounts of caffeine every day, when you stop doing that, you're going to notice your body changing drastically, usually for the better. And good nutrition, hydration can definitely affect your mental health in a positive way and provide you with the energy that you need, sustainable energy, because when you are like loading up on caffeine and then you don't get it, then a lot of us know, that crash that comes along with it. And then it just becomes this really unbalanced cycle. Again, this is something that I struggle with too, because as a nurse, it's not always easy to maintain healthy routines. I'm super envious of the nurses that do maintain their healthy routines despite, our weird schedules and weird hours and not having like consistency a lot of the time. So I get it. It can definitely be difficult, but it's just, if you want to work on your mental health, that is another way that you can do so. Something that I've recently started doing, and the truth is I thought that I always did this, but I only recently realized that I wasn't doing this the way I was supposed to, and it was prioritizing tasks effectively. So after I read the book, The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan, I started coming up with my one thing for the day that if I got that one thing done, then it would help me move the needle forward in some area of my life that I wanted to improve or some goal that I was working toward. So if you don't want to do that, let's say, you still should organize your to-dos basically in order of urgency and importance. So what needs to get done right now or today, or I don't even want to say this week because I feel like that's giving it too much time. If you just focus on one task at a time and then break larger projects up into smaller, manageable steps, you'll get a lot more accomplished. And as much as we like to think that we're good at multitasking, we are not. Like, our brains are not equipped to fully give our attention to several different things at one time, even though we think that we can. And it's not only going to decrease your productivity when you are trying to focus on a bunch of different things at once, but it's also likely to increase your stress level because you are actively trying to pay attention to several different things at the same time. So prioritize what's the most important, focus on getting that done first, bang it out, focus on the next thing, and go from there. This has been so incredibly beneficial for me. And actually, another thing that I like to do is the day before or the night before, I will come up with a list of what I absolutely have to get done the next day. And it's usually like, those one or two things. And I always make sure that I get those done. And then, of course, I have a running list of like other stuff that I need to do, but it's not super urgent. Another really great way to manage tasks is to delegate them and to look for support. Delegation is one of the things that we're taught in nursing school because there are so many important things that need to be done. We sometimes have to delegate things to other members of the team or to our nurses' aides. And it's something that you can do in your life as well. If your workload or the things that you have to do are so overwhelming, you can ask for help from other people. And this can be in your work life with your colleagues. It can be with friends or family members in your household. Don't hesitate to ask for help when you need it. It's like there's no like badge of honor for doing all the things and working yourself into exhaustion. Remember that it's so much more important how you feel on the inside as opposed to how other people see you on the outside. You can seek for people to admire you, and that's a wonderful thing, but you don't have to essentially kill yourself trying to do all of the things so that other people respect you or see your worth or anything like that. If there's too much on your plate, be willing to ask for help. And lastly, you always want to practice self-compassion. Be kind to yourself. Acknowledge all your efforts and your achievements and all of the things that you've done, accomplished. Remember that it's okay to take breaks. It's okay to ask for help. It's okay to make mistakes. It's okay to set boundaries. It's okay to say no. No, I am not doing that. No, I'm not interested in that. My favorite phrase recently is, I cannot offer that to you. I love saying that. I don't know why, but I do it all the time. And that might be a really hard thing for you to even fathom saying, is telling people no. But I want you to understand that doesn't make you a B word. It doesn't make you mean. It just makes you a human who has boundaries and who is prioritizing their mental health. That's what it means. And it's okay for you to do that. I want you to do that. I want you to prioritize your mental well-being. So many of us suffer every single day because we are trying so hard to do everything for everyone that we sacrifice our own well-being, and we should not have to do that. You can help other people, be supportive of other people, help other people, and also look out for yourself. I'm really glad that there's so much less stigma around mental health and seeking help for our mental health than there was back in the day, but I feel like it's still hard for some people to seek it. And I want you to know that making your mental health a priority is more than okay to do. It's essential for living a healthy life and being healthy overall. Just like your physical wellness, your mental wellness is equally as important. And I hope that I know I did give you a little bit of tough love this week, but that's what it is. It's love. This is coming from my heart. I don't want to see you suffer. I don't want to see you exhausted.
I don't want to see you overwhelmed. Granted, our lives they ebb and flow. We have good times, we have bad times, we have relatively easy times, we have really hard times. And I get that. It's not going to be, kumbaya every day of the week. I totally understand. But you know how you feel on the inside, right? You know if you're at the point where you are just exhausted and you can't take on anymore. And if you're there, then now is the time to really start implementing some of these things, really start looking at your everyday routine and your schedule and the people you surround yourself with and all of the other people's stuff that you take on in addition to your own stuff, and really just figure out how you can prioritize and how you can better manage it so that you can be healthy and happy and live a really awesome life. That is what I want for you more than anything else. And I'm so happy that you joined me this week for this episode. If you enjoyed it, if you think somebody else needs to hear it, make sure that you send it to them. And with that, I will see you right here next week.